Most of the plants sitting in garden centers across America right now are not built to survive your summer. They look perfect in April. They look colorful in May. And by August, they are crispy, tired, half dead, or completely gone. And here is the truth most gardeners are never told. The problem is not always you. Sometimes the problem is the plant you were sold. In this video, we are looking at 17 perennial plants that can come back year after year in containers. These are not fragile showpieces that need constant pampering. These are tough, practical, forgiving plants that can handle heat, drought, mist watering, poor attention, and in many zones, freezing winters. And one of them actually looks better the less you touch it. Before we start, comment below with the U.S. state where you garden, because your USDA growing zone changes everything. A plant that thrives in Michigan may need afternoon shade in Texas. A plant that laughs at a New York winter may struggle in a shallow pot in Georgia heat, so pay attention to the zones as we go. Plant number 1 is Sedum. Sedum is one of the most reliable container perennials you can grow because it carries water inside its own leaves. Each thick leaf works like a tiny reservoir. That means Sedum is not depending on you to remember every watering day. It has a survival system already built in. And here is where most people get Sedum wrong. They treat it too well. If you plant Sedum in rich soil and feed it heavily, it often grows tall, soft, and floppy. But if you plant it in lean, fast-draining soil and mostly leave it alone, it stays compact, colorful, and structured. In other words, Sedum rewards restraint. For containers, Autumn Fire is excellent if you want upright copper-pink flower heads in late summer and fall. Dragon's Blood gives you low-growing red foliage that becomes more intense as the weather cools. Matrona has burgundy stems and dusty pink blooms, giving the container a more architectural look. In USDA zones 3 through 9, Sedum is generally a dependable perennial. In hotter zone 9 or 10 areas, give it afternoon shade during the worst summer heat. Water it well when you plant it, then back off. Once established, Sedum does not want constant attention. It wants drainage, sun, and space to prove how tough it really is. Plant number 2 is Lavender. Lavender did not evolve in soft, wet, rich potting soil. It comes from rocky Mediterranean conditions where the soil is lean, gritty, and fast-draining. That is why so many people kill lavender in containers. They love it too much. They water too often. They plant it in soil that holds moisture. Then the roots rot. The fix is simple. Mix your potting soil with coarse perlite or horticultural grit. Use a pot with several drainage holes. Never let the container sit in a saucer full of water. For cold hardy gardens, Hidcote is a strong English lavender with deep purple flowers. For hot and humid regions, Phenomenal is often the better choice. And if fragrance is your priority, Grosso is known for its powerful scent and high oil content. Do not fertilize lavender heavily. Rich feeding produces soft growth and weaker fragrance. Slight stress actually helps lavender become more aromatic. That is what makes it so valuable near patios, walkways, and seating areas. Brush the leaves on a warm evening, and the scent releases instantly. Plant number 3 is Russian Sage. If you want months of color without begging a plant to perform, Russian Sage deserves a container. Once established, it can bloom from midsummer into fall with clouds of blue-purple flowers on silver stems. It gives you movement, color, and structure at the same time. In zones 4 through 9, Russian Sage is a tough perennial. It handles heat, drought, deer pressure, and poor soil better than many flowering plants. The maintenance is almost laughably simple. Cut it back to about 6 inches in late winter or early spring, and let it return fuller than before. And here is something many gardeners do not realize. Russian Sage can look better in a container than in the ground. The limited root space helps keep the plant more upright and controlled, which is exactly what you want on a patio, porch, or balcony. So with just these first 3 plants, Sedum, Lavender, and Russian Sage, you already have drought tolerance, fragrance, flowers, silver foliage, fall color, and months of structure without turning your garden into a second job. Plant number 4 is Hens and Chicks. This is one of the easiest container perennials for gardeners who want plants that multiply without being begged. The large center rosette is called the hen. The smaller rosettes forming around it are the chicks. Each chick is a complete new plant. You can gently pull it away, place it in another shallow container, and it will usually root with very little help. That is the magic of hens and chicks. One small plant can slowly become a whole collection. They are especially useful if you garden in small spaces. You do not need deep containers. A shallow bowl, a wall planter, a windowsill pot, or a rocky trough can all work as long as the drainage is sharp. These plants evolved in harsh alpine conditions, so a normal American patio is not a challenge to them. In USDA zones 3 through 8, they can handle serious winter cold when the container drains well. But drainage matters. A hen in a wet, cramped pot will focus on survival. A hen in a wider, fast-draining container will focus on reproduction. That is when you start seeing more chicks around the mother plant. If you have ever grown hens and chicks before, comment below and tell me whether yours multiplied like crazy or barely produced anything at all. The difference usually comes down to container size, drainage, and sunlight. Plant number 5 is catmint, especially Walker's Low. This plant is one of the most underrated container perennials in America. It can bloom for months, often from late spring through fall, with soft blue-purple flowers held above gray-green aromatic foliage. It looks relaxed, full, and natural, but it works incredibly hard. Butterflies love it. Bees visit it. Many biting insects dislike the scent of the foliage, so you are getting color, pollinator activity, and a natural pest deterring effect from one plant. The trick with catmint is simple. After the first big flush of flowers starts to fade in midsummer, cut the entire plant back by about half. It will look harsh for a short time. Then it will push out fresh growth and bloom again. Many gardeners skip this step and lose weeks of color without knowing why. Now compare catmint to petunias. Petunias often need frequent deadheading, regular feeding, and replacement every year. Catmint needs one serious trim, no dramatic fuss, and then it returns the next spring. That is the difference between buying decoration and building a garden. If this kind of practical plant advice helps you avoid wasting money every season, tap the like button. It helps this information reach another gardener who is tired of replacing the same plants every summer. Plant number 6 is hostasum in substance. Hostas are famous shade plants, but many gardeners do not realize they can be even better in containers than in the ground. In a pot, you control the soil, you control the moisture, you can move the plant away from harsh afternoon sun, and most importantly, you reduce slug damage, which is one of the biggest problems with ground-grown hostas. Sum and Substance produces huge chartreuse gold leaves that can glow in shade. It brings bold texture where flowering plants often struggle. If you want something smaller or cooler toned, Halcyon offers powder blue foliage. If you want a crisp, classic look, Patriot gives you green leaves with white margins. In zones 3 through 9, hostas are reliable perennials. In colder areas, move containers to a protected wall or unheated garage before deep winter freezes. In warmer zones, give them morning sun only and protect them from afternoon heat. The best part is that a container hosta does not need to be replaced every year. After a few seasons, you can divide it into 2 or 3 plants. That means one purchase can eventually become several containers. Annuals rarely give you that kind of return. Plant number 7 is heuchera, also called coral bells. If you want color without waiting for flowers, heuchera is one of the smartest choices you can make. Its leaves can be burgundy, silver, lime green, caramel, orange, purple, or nearly black. The color is there from the beginning of the season, not just during a short bloom window. Palace purple gives deep burgundy foliage that can look almost black in certain light. Lime Ricky brightens shady spaces with electric chartreuse leaves. Caramel shifts through warm amber and orange tones as the season changes. In zones 4 through 9, heuchera is dependable. In mild climates, it may stay evergreen and keep containers looking alive through winter. But here is the mistake. Do not bury it in deep shade and expect strong color. Heuchera usually looks best in bright indirect light or a few hours of gentle morning sun. Move the pot where it can catch that soft morning light, and the foliage color often becomes noticeably richer within a couple of weeks. By this point, you have 7 container perennials that do more than survive. They multiply, rebloom, divide, feed pollinators, brighten shade, and come back year after year. That is how you stop rebuilding your container garden from zero every spring. Plant number 8 is astilbe. Astilbe looks delicate, almost too elegant to be low maintenance. Its feathery plumes can make a shaded container look like something from a professional garden design. but the plant itself is much easier than it appears. Unlike lavender or sedum, astilbe does not want to dry out completely. It prefers steady moisture, which is exactly why containers can help. In the ground, astilbe depends on the soil around it. In a container, you control the moisture more precisely. For bright shade, bridal veil produces soft white plumes. Fennel gives deep red flowers with darker foliage. Sprite is compact, pink, and excellent for smaller pots. In zones 3 through 8, astilbe returns reliably if you keep it evenly moist and protect it from harsh afternoon sun. After blooming, do not rush to cut it back. The dried plumes can turn warm brown and keep the container interesting into fall. Plant number 9 is Japanese painted fern. If you have a shady corner that always feels dull, this plant can change everything. Japanese painted fern brings silver, green, and burgundy tones into the shade. It looks like each frond has been brushed with metallic paint. Standard green ferns soften a container. Japanese painted fern makes it look intentional. Burgundy lace gives stronger purple tones. Ghost is almost silver and glows in deep shade. The classic pictum remains one of the most reliable choices. In zones 3 through 8, it dies back in winter and returns in spring. One tip, leave the old fronds through winter. They help protect the crown from freezing. Clean them up in early spring when new growth begins. Plant number 10 is Bergenia Winter Glow. This plant proves container gardening does not end when summer is over. Bergenia has thick, glossy leaves through the growing season. Then those leaves can turn deep red or burgundy as temperatures fall. In early spring, it sends up pink flowers before many other perennials have even started growing. That gives you spring flowers, summer structure, and winter color from one tough plant. In zones 3 through 8, Bergenia handles cold, shade, poor soil, and some neglect once established. In colder regions, the winter leaf color can become even more dramatic. Plant number 11 is Black-Eyed Susan, also called Rudbeckia. If you want bold color with very little drama, this is one of the best choices. Rudbeckia produces golden yellow flowers with dark centers from midsummer into fall. In containers, it creates a bright, cheerful display that can be seen from across the yard. Goldsturm is the classic compact variety. Prairie Sun has green centers for a fresher look. Cherry Brandy adds copper red tones if you want something different. In zones 3 through 9, Black-Eyed Susan is tough and reliable. It often performs better in its second and third year than in its first. Leave the seed heads standing in fall and winter, and birds may feed from them when other food is harder to find. Plant number 12 is Lamb's Ear. This is the plant that looks better when you stop fussing over it. Lamb's Ear has soft silver leaves covered in tiny hairs. Those hairs reflect sunlight, reduce heat stress, and slow moisture loss. But if you overwater it, those same fuzzy leaves can trap moisture and rot. So, the rule is simple. Give Lamb's Ear sun, drainage, and less water than you think it needs. Big Ears has large, dramatic leaves. Helen von Stein focuses on foliage instead of flowers. Silky Fleece is smaller and works well as a silver accent in mixed containers. In zones 4 through 8, Lamb's Ear is usually hardy. In hot or humid areas, give it afternoon shade and sharp drainage. By now, your container garden can already have flowers, fragrance, shade texture, silver foliage, winter color, pollinator value, and plants that return stronger each year. That is the difference between decorating with plants and building a garden that lasts. Plant number 13 is daylily, or hemerocallis. Each daylily flower lasts only one day, but one plant can produce many buds over many weeks. That means the display continues long after the first bloom fades. For containers, Stella d'Oro is one of the most reliable choices. It stays compact and can rebloom through a long season. Happy Returns gives a softer pale yellow look, while Purple d'Oro brings deeper color in the same practical size. Daylilies are hardy in zones 3 through 9. Every few years, the clump can be divided, turning one plant into several. That is one of the great advantages of perennial container gardening. Your garden can multiply instead of needing to be replaced. Comment below with the daylily color you would actually grow: yellow, orange, red, purple, or something unusual. Plant number 14 is ornamental grass, especially Karl Förster feather reed grass. Ornamental grass gives a container something flowers cannot: movement. When the wind passes through it, the whole pot comes alive. Karl Förster grows upright and narrow, making it excellent for containers. In spring, it gives fresh green structure. In summer, it sends up feathery plumes. In fall, it turns warm gold. In winter, the dry stems can still look architectural. Hardy in zones 4 through 9, it needs one main job per year. Cut it back to 4 to 6 inches in late winter. Plant number 15 is coneflower or echinacea. Coneflower is a native perennial that brings flowers, pollinators, seed heads, and drought tolerance together in one plant. It blooms from summer into fall and handles mist watering better than many showier container plants. Magnus purple is the classic. White swan brightens mixed containers. Hot papaya adds bold orange-red drama. In zones 3 through 9, coneflower is widely adaptable. Leave the seed heads standing in fall, and birds may feed from them through winter. Plant number 16 is hellebore, especially the Ice and Roses series. This is the plant for gardeners who hate empty winter containers. Hellebores can bloom in winter or very early spring, often when the rest of the garden still looks asleep. The flowers may be white, pink, burgundy, cream, or nearly black. The foliage is thick, glossy, and evergreen in many regions. Ice and Roses red gives deep winter color. Penny's pink is softer and elegant. Hellebores are hardy in zones 4 through 9, but in cold areas protect the pot from harsh wind. Plant number 17 is evergreen sedum, especially autumn fire. This final plant ties the whole container strategy together. It gives structure in spring, strong growth in summer, copper pink flowers in fall, and dried seed heads that can hold into winter. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, autumn fire is drought tolerant, sturdy, and more upright than many older sedum types. At this point, your containers are no longer short-term decorations. They are living structures that can carry your garden from spring to summer, from fall into winter, and then return again next year. Before you plant any of these 17 perennials, remember 3 rules. First, drainage matters more than watering. Most container perennials do not die because they missed one watering. They die because their roots sat in wet, heavy soil for too long. Every pot needs good drainage holes, and drought-tolerant plants should never sit in saucers full of water. Second, container size determines survival. A tiny pot dries out faster in summer and freezes harder in winter. A larger container gives roots more room, holds moisture more evenly, and protects the plant better through cold weather. Third, soil mix does half the work. Do not use heavy garden soil in containers. Use quality potting mix and adjust it for the plant. Lavender, sedum, lamb's ear, and hens and chicks need sharper drainage. Hosta and astilbe prefer more consistent moisture. Here is the truth. You are not bad at gardening just because plants have failed before. Many of those plants were never meant to last. This season, choose perennials that match your zone, give them the right pot, and stop rebuilding your container garden from zero every spring. Subscribe for more practical container gardening advice and comment below with the 3 plants you want to grow this year and the state where you garden.